This is the silent magnet, a forgotten truth about how to attract everything you desire by simply becoming still. You'll learn how the most powerful form of attraction requires no effort, only alignment. You are not here to chase abundance. You are here to become it. The Silent Magnet. Introduction. In the hidden sanctum of your soul there stirs an ancient pulse, a current older than the stars, humming softly beneath the noise of the world. It does not shout, it does not demand, it draws. Like the moon moves the tides, this sacred rhythm flows unseen through all realms, weaving wealth with wisdom, abundance with awareness, and success with the stillness that breathes between thoughts. You have known it, though not by name. It speaks in moments when reality bends in your favor without cause, when life unfolds like a well-planned dream, when doors swing open before you even knock. This is the silent magnet, the quiet architect of alignment, the hidden frequency once followed by sages, seers, and silent adepts of the unseen path. The truths bound within these chapters were not written, they were remembered, preserved in whispers, passed like flame from soul to soul, carried through the ages by those who walked the way of resonance rather than resistance. They do not teach how to acquire, they reveal how to become. For the true magnet does not chase, it invites. This manuscript has found its way to you now, because your inner ear is beginning to hear again. You are awakening to the memory your spirit has kept safe, that the universe responds not to effort, but to energy, not to strive, but to stillness. And in that stillness, the magnetic current begins to rise. Prosperity is not something you attain, it is something you remember. Like a forgotten melody echoing from the depth of your being, the abundance you seek is already singing through you, waiting only for your harmony. As you move through this work, you will not be asked to do more, but to uncover more of who you are beneath the noise, to become a vessel of quiet radiance, a being in tune with the sacred pull of the cosmos. For the true power of the silent magnet is this: to rest in such an authentic presence that the universe cannot help but come to you, like rivers to the sea, like light to the morning. What calls you now is not new, it is ancient, and it has always been yours. Part 1. Awakening the Silent Current. Chapter 1. The Whisper Beneath the Wind. The old shepherd Walter had spent decades walking the same winding paths through the hills, yet on this day, something was different. As he gathered his flock at dusk, his hand brushed against a small stone in the grass, unremarkable to the eye but alive with an almost imperceptible vibration. Placing it in his pocket, he noticed how it seemed to pulse with a gentle rhythm, like a distant heartbeat. As days passed, Walter found himself guided by this subtle hum, his feet drawn to new paths he'd never noticed before. One evening, following this quiet call, he discovered a hidden spring bubbling beneath an ancient oak, water so pure it seemed to sing. The universe speaks not in shouts but in whispers. Like Walter's humming stone, the magnetic force of attraction moves through your life as a subtle current. When you chase after abundance with loud declarations and forceful action, you often drown out the very frequency that would naturally draw it to you. The secret lies not in amplifying your desires, but in attuning to the quiet vibration already present within you. Your natural state is one of magnetism. Just as the Earth's core maintains its magnetic field without effort, you too possess an innate attractive force. This force strengthens not through striving, but through stillness, through moments when you allow yourself to feel the hum of your own being. Consider Evelyn, who stood at the crossroads of two paths. One beckoned with bright promises and loud accolades, a prestigious position that everyone said she should want. The other manifested as a gentle tug toward a small startup no one had heard of. While others pushed her toward the obvious choice, she chose to honor the quiet knowing in her heart. Within months, that small company revolutionized its industry, and Evelyn found herself not just wealthy, but aligned with work that felt like an extension of her soul. The whispers that guide you are not random. They are the voice of your own magnetic nature recognizing what already belongs to you. When you learn to trust this subtle guidance, you align with currents of abundance that have been flowing toward you all along. Ancient practice, the heart's hum. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Place your right hand over your heart, closing your eyes gently. For 5 minutes, simply rest in silence, feeling the warmth of your hand and the rhythm of your breath. Notice any subtle sensations, any quiet stirrings of desire or knowing. After the silence, take your journal and, without using words, express what you felt through simple marks, lines, or shapes. Let your hand move as naturally as water, capturing the essence of your inner hum. Chapter 2: The Cup That Must Be Emptied. Along a misty morning path walked Thomas, his shoulders bent under the weight of decades spent counting other people's fortunes. In his hands he clutched a clay chalice, cracked and worn, a remnant from his first failed business venture 30 years ago. He kept it as a reminder of what he thought was his greatest mistake. A traveler appeared beside him, wrapped in simple robes, carrying nothing but a small satchel. From it, he drew forth a chalice of pure gold, its surface catching the dawn light. "This belongs to you," the traveler said, extending the vessel. But as Thomas reached for it with his free hand, the traveler pulled back. "First, you must empty your hands to receive it." Thomas clutched his broken chalice tighter. "This represents my life's lesson," he protested. The traveler smiled gently. "No, it represents your life's prison." The universal law of receptivity operates with perfect precision. Like a vessel that must be emptied before it can be filled anew, your life must release what no longer serves before fresh abundance can flow in. The beliefs you hold about scarcity, the memories of past failures, the stories of unworthiness, these are not protective talismans, but barriers to your natural state of prosperity. Consider how Hattie, a skilled seamstress, spent years tolerating a wealthy client who constantly demanded revisions, paid late, and spoke down to her. This client represented security to Hattie, a reliable, if draining, source of income. When she finally gathered the courage to end this relationship, space opened in her schedule and her energy field. Within days, 3 new clients appeared, each bringing projects that excited her creativity and valued her expertise. The universe rushed to fill the vacuum she had created with something better aligned with her worth. This principle extends beyond material possessions or difficult relationships. Your thoughts themselves occupy energetic space. Each belief about how things are, or what you deserve, acts as a container, limiting what can enter your life. When you release these containers, you create room for new possibilities to emerge. Sacred practice, the release ritual. Take a piece of paper and write down one belief, habit, or attachment you are ready to release. Be specific. Name the thought that constrains you, the relationship that drains you, or the possession that anchors you to an old story. Hold the paper in your hands and acknowledge how this element has served you until now, even if only as a teacher of what you no longer need. Then, with conscious intent, either burn the paper safely in a fireproof container, shred it into tiny pieces, or bury it in the earth. As you do this, feel the energetic space being cleared within you. This space is not empty. It is pregnant with potential, awaiting the new abundance that even now moves toward you. Chapter 3. The Law That Attracts Gold. In the foothills of ancient mountains, where veins of precious metal wound through stone like frozen rivers, lived an old miner named Clyde. His hands bore the gentle strength of one who had learned nature's deepest secrets. One morning, a boy from the village approached him carrying a pickaxe nearly as tall as himself. "Teach me to find gold," the boy demanded, his young face set with determination. Clyde smiled and gestured for the boy to sit beside him near the mine entrance. "Put down your tool," he said softly. "Gold isn't found through force, it's attracted through harmony. The law of attraction operates not through mental force, but through the silent language of energy. Just as the earth yields her treasures only to those who approach with reverence, abundance flows naturally to those who cultivate an inner state of appreciation and respect. Money, in its essence, is frozen energy, a physical manifestation of universal flow. When you understand this truth, you realize that wealth cannot be wrestled into existence. It must be invited through resonance. Your relationship with money mirrors your relationship with life itself. Where there is demand, there is resistance. Where there is reverence, there is flow. In a small town by the sea, Mabel faced empty rooms and emptier bank accounts after her husband's passing. Rather than succumb to scarcity, she began a simple ritual. Each evening, she would light a candle and express gratitude for every penny that passed through her hands that day. She thanked the electric bill for bringing light to her home. She blessed her grocery receipts for nourishing her body. Gradually, without external change in circumstance, her financial landscape transformed. An forgotten investment matured. A relative offered unexpected support. A skill she had taken for granted became a source of income. The universe responded not to her need, but to her appreciation. This transformation wasn't magic, it was magnetism. By shifting her energy from lack to gratitude, Mabel altered the frequency she broadcast to the universe. Money, like all energy, naturally flows toward those who recognize and honor its spiritual essence. Sacred practice, the blessing of abundance. For the next 7 days, engage in conscious appreciation of every financial exchange in your life. Whether receiving or spending, pause to bless each monetary transaction. Touch your bills with reverence. Thank your coins for their service. Honor your bank statements as records of energy flow. Keep a simple journal noting not just financial changes, but shifts in your relationship with money. Watch how the energy of appreciation begins to attract its own reflection. Chapter 4. The Treasure You Already Carry. In a small workshop filled with the gentle rhythm of ticking timepieces, Edgar spent his days surrounded by the mysteries of time. His weathered hands knew every gear and spring, yet he remained blind to the greatest treasure hiding in plain sight. One winter morning, while reaching for his trusted work coat, worn faithfully for 20 years, he felt something unusual in its lining. There, stitched into the fabric's fold, lay an ornate brass key. The key led him to a forgotten family vault, untouched for generations. Inside, he discovered not just material wealth, but evidence of a legacy he had carried unknowingly all along. You, like Edgar, carry hidden treasures within your being. The universe has already placed within you the seeds of abundance, not as distant possibility, but as present reality. Your wealth exists first in consciousness before manifesting in form. This truth remains unchanged through ages. Your outer world mirrors your inner sense of worth. Many walk through life wearing the comfortable coat of limitation, unaware of the key sewn into its very fabric. Your beliefs about your worthiness, your right to abundance, and your place in the universe determine what you will allow yourself to receive. The vault of prosperity stands ready, waiting only for you to recognize the key you've carried all along. In a sunlit studio across town, Clara stood before her canvases, her talent evident to all except herself. Each day, she painted masterpieces while doubting their value. Then one morning, she made a decision to honor her inner worth before seeking outer validation. She began speaking to herself as though she were already successful, acknowledging her gifts as valuable contributions to the world. Within weeks, a prestigious gallery owner stopped at her studio, drawn by an energy he couldn't explain. He became her first patron, not because Clara had changed her art, but because she had changed her relationship with her own worth. The law remains constant. Your experience of abundance flows from your recognition of your inherent value. Money, success, and opportunity are not rewards to be earned, but natural expressions of your alignment with your true worth. Sacred practice, the mirror of worth. Each night before you rest, stand before a mirror in perfect stillness. Look deeply into your own eyes, the windows to your infinite soul. Speak these words with quiet authority. I am already enough. I am already rich. Let this truth settle into your being, not as hope for the future, but as recognition of what already is. This practice awakens the dormant awareness of your inherent abundance. Like Edgar's key, it unlocks what has always been yours. Chapter 5, The Still Flame. Out on the vast ocean where sky meets water in an endless embrace, a sailor named Frank found himself caught in a storm that stripped away every navigational tool he possessed. For days, he searched the clouded heavens for guidance until exhaustion forced him into surrender. In that moment of release, he noticed something extraordinary. When his mind grew still, the waters beneath his vessel became a perfect mirror, revealing patterns he had never seen before. These subtle currents, visible only in absolute calm, guided him safely to shore. Within you lies this same principle of reflection. The universe responds not to your desires alone, but to the stillness from which those desires emerge. When your emotional waters are turbulent, they distort every sign and signal meant to guide you. But in tranquility, the path becomes clear. This ancient truth has whispered through the ages. Chaos repels while calm attracts. Like a candle flame that draws others to its steady light, your inner stability creates a magnetic field of manifestation. Money, opportunity, and abundance naturally flow toward those who maintain their center amidst life's storms. Consider how a pond must be still to reflect the stars above. Your consciousness works in the same way. It must achieve clarity before it can mirror your highest possibilities. This is not passive waiting, but active cultivation of inner peace. In a small village, Ruth, a midwife, struggled to grow her practice despite her considerable skill. Her anxiety about success created an atmosphere of uncertainty that her potential clients could sense. One day she discovered that when she centered herself before meeting expectant mothers, they responded differently to her presence. Ruth began a practice of finding her own peace before entering each home. Soon her calm presence became known throughout the village. Mothers specifically requested her services, saying they felt safer in her care. Her practice flourished not through additional effort or skill, but through the magnetic power of her cultivated stillness. This truth applies to every aspect of abundance. The universe seeks equilibrium, naturally flowing toward those who maintain their inner harmony. Your emotional stability becomes a beacon, drawing to you that which resonates with your peaceful core. Sacred practice, the breath of prosperity. Before every financial transaction, every business decision, every moment that involves the flow of abundance, pause for 3 deep breaths. Let each inhale fill you with certainty. Each exhale releases any trace of anxiety or urgency. This practice creates a field of calm around your money matters, signaling to the universe your readiness to receive with grace. Feel how each breath draws you deeper into alignment with the infinite source of all prosperity. The first breath centers you in the present moment. The second opens your energy to receive. And the third breath seals your connection to the divine flow of abundance. As you maintain this practice, you'll notice how your relationship with money transforms, no longer charged with fear or desperation, but infused with the quiet confidence of one who understands the eternal laws of prosperity. Chapter 6. The Invisible Thread. In the heart of an ancient city, a master tailor named Herbert crafted garments with meticulous care. Each morning, he walked the same path to his shop until one day, an unfamiliar whisper in his heart urged him down a narrow alley he had passed 1,000 times before. Following this inexplicable pull, he discovered a hidden merchant's stall draped with shimmering fabric unlike any he had seen, threads that seemed to capture the very light of dawn. This fabric, he learned, came from a remote monastery where monks wove meditation into every strand. Herbert's creations with this material soon drew nobility from distant lands, transforming his modest shop into a sanctuary of beauty. The universe speaks through the language of attraction. When you feel drawn to something, a path, a possibility, an unexpected direction, you are receiving guidance from the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all of creation. Your desires are not random impulses. They are sacred signals pointing toward what already belongs to you in the spiritual realm. Like a thread woven into the fabric of existence, you are connected to everything meant for you. Before manifestation in the physical world, this connection exists in the subtle realm of energy and potential. Your task is not to forge new connections, but to recognize and strengthen the ones already present. In a quiet town library, Beatrice sorted ancient texts with reverence. One night, she dreamed of a book bound in blue leather, its chapters holding a message meant only for her. Though she dismissed it as imagination, the dream returned night after night. Finally, heeding this persistent call, she began searching the library's forgotten corners. Behind a loose panel, she discovered a volume matching her dream exactly. Inside was a letter revealing her connection to the library's founding family and her rightful inheritance as its custodian. These stories illuminate an eternal truth. The path to your destiny often begins with trusting the subtle pulls of your heart. What you seek is already seeking you, sending signals through the language of intuition, dreams, and mysterious attraction. Sacred practice, the thread of connection. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Take 3 deep breaths, allowing your awareness to settle into your heart center. On a blank page, write down 3 desires that live in your soul. Not superficial wants, but deep longings that feel both exciting and somewhat frightening to acknowledge. For each desire, close your eyes and ask, how am I already connected to this dream? Write without censoring, allowing your intuition to reveal the invisible threads that link you to what you seek. Perhaps you'll discover that the skills you need are already developing, that key people are already in your life, or that past experiences have been preparing you all along. This practice reveals that manifestation is not about creating from nothing, but about recognizing and strengthening connections that already exist in the fabric of your destiny. Chapter 7. The Currency of Belief. In a mountain village where mist clung to ancient stone walls, lived a blacksmith named Alvin. His forge rang with honest labor, yet prosperity eluded him until a wandering monk stopped to warm his hands by the fire. The monk pulled forth 2 coins, one gleaming gold, the other a simple copper piece. "Which holds more value?" the monk asked. Alvin pointed to the gold piece without hesitation. The monk smiled. "In this village, perhaps. But in the temple where I dwell, copper is sacred, worth 10 times its weight in gold. The metal's worth lies not in itself, but in what we believe about it." You are now uncovering one of the deepest mysteries of universal law. That belief is the true currency of existence. Your expectations shape reality more powerfully than any external force. When you change your beliefs about money, you alter the very fabric of your financial reality. The universe responds not to what you have, but to what you believe you deserve. Your thoughts about wealth are like seeds planted in fertile soil. They will grow exactly what you expect them to yield. This is why 2 people can receive the same opportunity and reap vastly different harvests. In a bustling market town, a teacher named Etta taught music from her modest home. For years, she charged what she thought others would accept, until one day she recognized her true worth. Without announcement or apology, she doubled her rates. To her amazement, not only did her students stay, more arrived, drawn by her quiet certainty. Her income doubled not through strategy, but through the silent power of aligned belief. This truth echoes through the ages. Your beliefs about money are magnetic forces, attracting or repelling abundance according to their nature. When you shift your beliefs, you shift your magnetic field. The universe must then respond in kind, for this is the law of spiritual gravity. Sacred practice. Upon waking, stand before your mirror and speak these 3 beliefs with the authority of one who knows their truth. I am a natural channel for abundance, Money flows to me easily and joyfully. My wealth grows as I grow in consciousness. Let these words sink into your being until they become as natural as breathing. Feel them resonate in every cell, every fiber of your consciousness. For in this practice, you are not merely speaking. You are rewiring the very frequency at which you vibrate with wealth. Each repetition strengthens the magnetic field of abundance around you, attuning your spirit to the infinite flow of universal prosperity. Chapter 8. The Guardian at the Gate. In the shadows of ancient mountains, young Morris stood at the mouth of a cave, his heart pounding against his chest. Tales of a fearsome dragon had kept villagers away for generations. As he peered into the darkness, an elder appeared beside him, his eyes gleaming with wisdom, accumulated through countless seasons. "What do you see?" the elder asked softly. "The dragon's lair," Morris whispered, trembling. "Look closer," the elder urged. "The dragon you fear is but the shadow of your own doubt taking form. It grows larger with your fear and smaller with your understanding. You must understand that doubt is not your enemy. It is a natural companion on the path to manifestation. Like Morris at the cave's entrance, you stand before your own possibilities, and the dragons you perceive are fashioned from the mist of your uncertainties. These doubts are not walls, but doorways waiting to be walked through. When you approach your doubts with gentleness rather than resistance, they begin to reveal their true nature. Each question that arises is not a barrier, but a stepping stone to deeper wisdom. Your doubt is not a sign to retreat. It is an invitation to advance with greater awareness. In a quiet valley, there lived a singer named Norma, whose voice once filled concert halls. After one harsh review, she fell silent, letting doubt steal her song. For years, she avoided the stage until she learned to speak to her fear as one would address an old friend. "I hear you," she would say to her doubt, "but I will sing anyway." She began with small gatherings, each performance a conversation with her uncertainty. As she acknowledged her fear without letting it rule her, her voice grew stronger, and audiences returned in greater numbers than before. This story mirrors your own journey with manifestation. Your doubts about abundance, success, and worthiness are not obstacles to overcome, but companions to understand. When you resist them, they grow stronger. When you acknowledge them with compassion, they begin to serve rather than hinder. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Take out your journal and write a letter to your doubt, as though addressing an old friend who has traveled long with you. Thank it for trying to protect you, for keeping you alert and thoughtful on your path. Then, with firm compassion, establish new boundaries for your relationship. Tell it when you will listen to its counsel and when you must proceed despite its protests. End the letter by declaring your new understanding. That doubt can accompany you on your journey, but it may no longer drive the carriage of your destiny. Chapter 9. The Language of the Unseen. In a village among ancient hills lived Ezekiel, whose tongue had never formed a word, yet his hands moved like birds in flight, painting symbols in the air and on parchment that stirred something deep within all who witnessed them. Each morning, he would trace a spiral in the dust of the village square, and by nightfall, the villagers found their lives had moved in harmony with its pattern. You must understand that the language of manifestation transcends mere words. The universe responds not to your vocabulary, but to the silent symphony of your being. Like Ezekiel's symbols, your deepest truths need no voice to reshape reality. The power of attraction flows through vibration, through the unspoken currents that move beneath the surface of conscious thought. When you align with these currents, words become secondary to the pure energy of your intention. This is why some of the most powerful manifestations occur in silence, in the spaces between thoughts where pure potential resides. In the depths of her garden, Opal discovered this truth through soil and seed. She never spoke her desires aloud, but imbued each seed with her intentions before planting. As she placed them on the earth, she held visions of abundance in her heart. When spring arrived, her garden bloomed in patterns that mirrored her inner landscape. Roses spiraled in the exact formation of her visualized success, and vines climbed in the shape of the prosperity she felt within. Her garden became a living testament to the power of symbolic communication with the universe. Each flower, each leaf arranged itself according to the silent language of her heart's desire. The villagers who walked through her garden felt their own possibilities awakening, though they couldn't explain why. This mirrors the fundamental truth of manifestation. The universe responds more readily to symbols and vibrations than to words and logic. Your ability to attract abundance lies not in what you say, but in how purely you can transmit your energy through symbol and intention. Sacred practice. Take time in solitude to create or discover your personal symbol of wealth. It might be a stone whose pattern speaks to you of abundance, an image that captures the essence of prosperity, or a sacred geometry that resonates with your understanding of flow. Hold this symbol in your hands or gaze upon it for 5 minutes each day, allowing its meaning to bypass your mind and speak directly to your spirit. Let it become a bridge between your conscious desire and the universal current of abundance. Through this wordless communion, you align yourself with the ancient language of manifestation, the language that has moved mountains and shaped destinies since time immemorial. Chapter 10. The Silence That Shouts. Along the banks of an ancient river where willows whispered secrets to the water, Hank found his sanctuary. Each morning, as the mist rose from the surface like spirits awakening, he would take his place on a worn wooden bench. No prayers were uttered, no wishes voiced, just the steady rhythm of his breath matching the river's flow. The art of silence holds a magnetic power that few have mastered. When you cease the endless chatter of wanting and striving, you enter a sacred frequency where the universe can finally hear your true vibration. This is not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of fullness, where your being itself becomes a beacon. For 3 seasons, Hank maintained his vigil by the water. Neither rain nor wind deterred his practice. He simply sat, allowing his presence to merge with the river's timeless current. Then one autumn morning, as leaves painted the water in gold, his old comrade James appeared beside him. Without preamble or petition, James spoke of a position that seemed crafted from Hank's unvoiced dreams, a role that would utilize his gifts while honoring his need for solitude. The universe responds not to the volume of your requests, but to the depth of your alignment. When you find the courage to be still, to trust in the sacred current of life, you become a natural attractor of your desires. Consider Elsie, whose flower shop sat at the corner of Oak and Main. For years she had pushed and promoted, seeking the right customers. Then, inspired by the silent wisdom of her blooms, she chose a different path. Each morning, before opening her shop, she would stand among her flowers in complete silence, holding a clear vision of serving those who truly valued her artistry. She made no announcements, changed no signs, yet within weeks her clientele transformed. Gone were the haggling bargain hunters, replaced by those who understood the poetry of her arrangements. This transformation occurred not through action, but through the power of aligned silence. Like a flower that needs no voice to attract the perfect pollinator, your aligned energy speaks volumes in the language of the universe. Sacred practice. Find a space where you can be undisturbed. Sit in complete silence for 10 minutes, holding the crystal-clear image of your desire in your mind's eye. Make no declarations, speak no affirmations, simply allow your being to resonate with the frequency of what you seek. Let your silence become a vessel for the universe's response. This practice, performed with consistency and trust, opens channels that no amount of spoken words could create. Part 2. Activating the Hidden Pull. Chapter 11. The Law Listens in Stillness. On a cottage perched high in the misty mountains, Margaret discovered what few souls ever understand. After years of filling the airwaves with her voice, moving millions with her words, she chose the path of sacred silence, not from fear or retreat, but from an inner knowing that called her to a deeper truth. The power of stillness flows like an underground river, unseen yet inexhaustible. When you cease the endless broadcast of your desires to the world, you tap into this ancient current. Your silence becomes a magnetic force, drawing to you that which resonates with your true frequency. As Margaret's voice grew quiet, the universe began to speak. Letters arrived from listeners whose lives had been transformed by her past work, offering opportunities she had never pursued. Publishers sought her wisdom not through pitches or proposals, but drawn by the pure resonance of her silent presence. She had discovered that stillness is not the absence of power, it is power in its most concentrated form. The law of magnetic silence operates with perfect precision. When you release the need to announce your intentions, you allow the universe to orchestrate on your behalf. Your aligned energy becomes a beacon more powerful than any spoken word. Consider Calvin, who had built his career on the art of persuasion. His days were filled with carefully crafted pitches and relentless follow-ups. Yet success remained elusive, slipping through his fingers like water. Then, in a moment of exhaustion, he discovered a truth that would transform everything: the power of receptive silence. Instead of filling every client meeting with words, Calvin began to listen, truly listen, with his entire being. He stopped trying to convince and started allowing space for genuine connection. In that space, something miraculous occurred. His clients felt heard, understood, valued. They began to seek him out rather than him chasing them. Within 3 months, his client list had tripled, each new relationship built on the foundation of sacred silence. Your words can create ripples, but your aligned silence creates waves. When you trust enough to let your energy speak for itself, you activate a power greater than any carefully constructed speech or strategy. Sacred practice. Choose one full day to maintain complete silence about your deepest aspirations and goals. Let go of the need to speak them into existence. Instead, feel their presence within you, like a warm flame in your heart. Notice how people respond to your energy rather than your words. Observe the subtle shifts in your environment, the unexpected doors that begin to open. Record each synchronicity in your journal, understanding that the universe speaks most clearly when you create space to listen. Chapter 12. The Gold Behind the Curtain. Behind every velvet curtain lies a mystery waiting to be unveiled. In a small theater on the edge of town, Vernon moved silently through his nightly routine, dusting props and adjusting ropes that held the heavy drapes in place. For 20 years he had walked these wooden boards, tending to the unseen mechanics that brought stories to life. One evening, as shadows deepened across the stage, a soft glow caught his eye, something luminous peeking through a gap in the curtains. There, in a forgotten corner, sat an orb of pure light. As Vernon held it in his trembling hands, understanding washed over him. The most powerful magic happens behind the scenes, in spaces hidden from view. The universe operates like a grand theater. While you focus on the main stage of your life, countless forces move in perfect synchronicity behind the curtain, arranging circumstances, aligning opportunities, and weaving connections you cannot yet imagine. Your role is not to direct every detail, but to trust in the unseen choreography of manifestation. This truth becomes clearer through Josephine's tale. A young mother of 2, she had mapped out precisely how her prosperity must arrive: a specific job, a particular house, an exact timeline. Each day she gripped these expectations tightly, until exhaustion forced her to release her rigid plans. In that surrender, something remarkable occurred. A distant aunt, touched by Josephine's dedication to her children, offered her a thriving business, one that allowed her to work from home while earning triple her desired income. The universe had been orchestrating this gift all along, waiting for Josephine to release her attachment to how her blessing should appear. Your desires are like seeds planted in fertile soil. Though you cannot see their growth beneath the surface, trust that roots are spreading, nutrients are flowing, and life is stirring. The moment of breakthrough often arrives not through forced timing, but through divine orchestration. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and envision a magnificent theater. Before you stands a velvet curtain, rich and heavy. Behind it, your desire is taking form, being prepared with perfect precision. Feel the anticipation, knowing that everything is being arranged for your highest good. Release the need to peek behind the curtain or rush the timing. Simply rest in the certainty that the universe is staging your blessing with flawless care. Hold this visualization for several minutes, allowing peace to replace anxiety, trust to replace control. Chapter 13. The Invisible Yes. In the quiet hours before dawn, when most of the world still slumbered, Harlan sat at his telegraph station, fingers resting lightly on the brass key. For 30 years he had translated the dots and dashes that carried messages across vast distances. Yet on this particular morning, something shifted in his perception. Between the official transmissions, he began to notice a different kind of signal, subtle clicks that seemed to arise from the silence itself. At first, he dismissed them as imagination, but their pattern grew unmistakable. They were saying yes over and over, in perfect rhythm with his own heartbeat. The universe speaks in frequencies, not words. Like Harlan's telegraph key, your consciousness is an instrument designed to receive signals from the infinite. When you align your inner vibration with what you seek, the universe responds with an immediate yes. This response requires no negotiation, no pleading, no explanation. Alignment itself is permission. Your role is not to convince the universe of your worthiness, but to tune your inner frequency to match what you desire. Just as a radio must be precisely tuned to receive a clear signal, your consciousness must be calibrated to the frequency of abundance, love, or whatever you seek to manifest. Consider Irene, whose small bakery had struggled despite her excellent recipes. For years, she second-guessed every decision, mentally rehearsing all possible failures before taking action. Her inner frequency broadcast doubt, and the universe faithfully echoed that signal back through declining sales. Then one morning, while kneading dough in pre-dawn silence, Irene realized something profound. Instead of questioning herself, she began affirming silently, "I am the baker I was born to be." No grand announcements, no external changes, just a quiet shift in her inner transmission. Within weeks, customers began arriving in unprecedented numbers. Orders flowed in without effort. Her pastries hadn't changed, but her inner frequency had aligned with success, and the universe responded with a resounding yes. Sacred practice. As the sun rises each morning, find a space of complete silence. Place your hands over your heart, feeling its steady rhythm. With each breath, silently affirm, "The universe says yes to me now." Let this truth sink deep into your being. You are not asking for permission. You are acknowledging the yes that has always been there, waiting for you to tune in to its frequency. Continue this practice for several minutes, allowing your entire being to resonate with this knowledge. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Hidden Vault Within. In the shadows of an aging bank, Samuel swept the marble floors as he had done each evening for 30 years. His routine never varied, until the night he noticed a peculiar groove in the wall behind a loose panel. His weathered hands traced the outline, revealing an ancient vault door, its brass dulled by time. Inside lay hundreds of unopened letters, each containing financial wisdom passed down through generations. Yet they remained unclaimed, their truths sealed away like the precious metals that once filled these walls. The greatest wealth lies not in what you seek outside yourself, but in what you unlock within. Just as Samuel discovered a hidden chamber in a place he thought he knew completely, you too possess an inner vault of abundance waiting to be revealed. This vault contains not gold or silver, but something far more valuable: your inherent knowledge of prosperity. Your relationship with wealth begins in the chambers of your heart, in the corridors of your beliefs, in the vaults of your expectations. When you shift your inner dialogue about money, the outer world must respond in kind. The universe simply mirrors what you have already claimed internally. This truth revealed itself to Lillian, who had taught at the same school for 15 years. Each day she would walk past the worn textbooks and outdated equipment, telling herself the same story. There's never enough funding, we always have to make do with less. One morning, while organizing her classroom, she found an old journal. As she opened it, a thought stirred within her. What if abundance starts with me? She began writing new stories about possibility rather than lack. She stopped speaking of scarcity and started imagining resources flowing freely. Within a month, an envelope arrived containing news of a substantial educational grant, one she hadn't even applied for. The funds matched exactly what she had been envisioning in her quiet moments of transformed belief. The vault of abundance exists first in consciousness. You must unlock it there before you see its manifestation in the physical world. Like Samuel's discovery behind the familiar wall, your prosperity awaits behind the veil of old thinking. Sacred practice. Create your own soul vault, a sacred journal dedicated to recording the wealth already present within you. Each day, write entries about your inner riches, your wisdom, your talents, your capacity to give and receive. Document the abundance you witness, the opportunities you recognize, the gratitude you feel. This journal becomes your evidence of the prosperity already flowing through your life, waiting to be claimed. Let each entry serve as a key, unlocking deeper chambers of abundance within your consciousness. As you acknowledge these inner treasures, watch how the outer world begins to reflect your expanded awareness of wealth. Chapter 15, The Echo Principle. Through the misty morning streets walked Russell, his mailbag heavy with letters. For 30 years he had delivered messages between souls, yet only now did he begin to notice the pattern. The words people spoke seemed to find their way back to them, as if carried on an invisible breeze. The universe operates as a perfect mirror, reflecting back the energy you send forth. Your thoughts, feelings, and words create ripples in the cosmic sea, returning to shore as the experiences of your life. This is not mere coincidence, it is the operation of an eternal law. When you speak of lack, lack finds you. When you radiate abundance, abundance seeks you out. Your consciousness is broadcasting every moment, and the universe cannot help but respond in kind. This response may not arrive immediately, but it must, for such is the nature of energy. Consider how a stone thrown into still water creates circles that extend outward, eventually returning to their source. So too do your energetic emissions, your thoughts, your feelings, your silent expectations, create waves that must return to you. Dorothy, who tended to the gardens at the local monastery, understood this truth without ever having it explained. Each morning, as she pruned the roses and watered the herbs, she would silently bless each plant, each visitor, each moment. May abundance flow to you, she would think, touching each leaf with tenderness. May peace find you, she would whisper to the wind. She asked for nothing, demanded nothing. Yet soon visitors began leaving generous donations. Anonymous checks appeared in the monastery's mailbox. A wealthy patron offered to fund an expansion of the gardens. The more Dorothy gave of her blessed thoughts, the more prosperity flowed back to her and the monastery. This law operates with mathematical precision. What you send out must return, not because of any human system of fairness, but because it is the very nature of energy to seek balance. Like attracts like. Frequency draws its match. Your words and thoughts are seeds planted in the fertile soil of universal consciousness. They will grow and bear fruit according to their kind. Plant blessings, harvest blessings. Plant gratitude, harvest abundance. Sacred practice. As you move through your day, silently bless every person you encounter, every building you pass, every situation you face. Feel the warmth of generosity radiating from your heart. Make no announcements. Seek no recognition. Simply allow your consciousness to become a fountain of blessing, knowing that what flows out must flow back. This is not a practice of asking or seeking. It is a practice of giving, of becoming a channel through which universal good may flow. As you master this art of silent blessing, watch how life begins to bless you in return. Chapter 16, The Sacred Pause. In the bustling marketplace of the old city, George stood before his empty shop, the weight of unpaid bills heavy in his pocket. As he turned the key in the lock one final time, an elder appeared beside him, his eyes reflecting wisdom earned through countless seasons. "When a stream becomes muddy, what do?" the elder asked. "Wait for it to clear," George replied. "Then why do you stir your troubled waters with endless action?" The elder's instruction was simple. Pause for one full day. Do nothing. Let the waters of mind and spirit grow still. Though resistance rose within him, George honored the guidance. In that sacred stillness, like a reflection appearing on motionless water, the next step revealed itself with perfect clarity. A vision of combining traditional crafts with modern needs emerged, not through force or desperation, but through allowing. The universe speaks in silence. When you cease the constant motion of doing, planning, and worrying, divine guidance flows naturally into the space you create. Your inner wisdom requires stillness to be heard. Consider Winifred, whose dance career seemed to demand constant motion. On the morning of a crucial audition, exhaustion wrapped around her like a heavy curtain. Against all conventional wisdom, she listened to the quiet voice within that whispered, "Rest." She canceled the audition, allowing herself to simply be. In that pause, her body remembered its natural rhythm. Her spirit recalibrated to its true frequency. Within days, an unexpected invitation arrived, a role that aligned perfectly with her authentic expression, offered without competition or strain. These stories illuminate an eternal truth. Pauses are not empty spaces to be feared, but sacred moments of realignment. When you feel most compelled to act, to push, to force, this is precisely when stillness offers its greatest gifts. The universe operates in cycles of action and rest, like the eternal rhythm of breath. By honoring these natural pauses, you align with a deeper current of creation. Your next inspired action emerges not from anxiety, but from alignment. Sacred practice. Before making any financial decision, create a pocket of sacred stillness within your day. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed and sit comfortably for 3 minutes, allowing your breath to find its natural rhythm. As your mind settles like leaves floating down to rest on still waters, place your hand over your heart center and ask with sincere openness, "Does this reflect my true alignment?" Notice any subtle sensations that arise, a warmth, a lightness, or perhaps a gentle knowing. Let the answer emerge not from logic or fear, but from the quiet wisdom that has always resided within you. Trust that your heart holds ancient knowledge beyond the mind's calculations. Only proceed when inner clarity arrives like the first rays of dawn, illuminating your path forward with certainty and grace. Chapter 17. The Hidden Law of Reception. In a small village among rolling hills, Emmett tended his garden with uncommon devotion. His vegetables flourished beyond measure, and his flowers bloomed with extraordinary vigor. Yet his greatest joy came not from cultivation but from giving, sharing his harvest with neighbors, offering bouquets to passers-by, leaving baskets of produce on doorsteps before dawn. His generosity flowed like a spring that never ran dry. But one autumn morning, When a merchant offered him a fine wool coat in exchange for his wisdom about soil, Emmett stepped backward as if struck. The mere suggestion of receiving caused his hands to tremble, his voice to falter. This moment reveals a truth woven into the fabric of universal law. Your ability to receive mirrors your ability to allow. Many souls who give endlessly harbor a hidden resistance to receiving, a subtle barrier that blocks the natural flow of abundance. You may wonder why prosperity seems to circle but never land. Look closely at your relationship with receiving. Do you deflect compliments, minimize your achievements, refuse assistance? These are the invisible walls you've built against abundance. Consider Hester, whose gentle hands brought comfort to countless patients. For years she dismissed their gratitude, waved away their praise, refused their simple offerings of appreciation. "It's nothing," she would say. "I'm just doing my job." But one wise patient noticed her pattern. "When you reject our thanks," the elderly woman said, "you reject the circle of giving and receiving. Both are sacred." These words touched something deep within Hester's spirit. Gradually, she began accepting the small gifts life offered: a sincere thank you, a cup of tea, a word of praise. She learned to smile and say yes without explanation or apology. Within months, an unexpected letter arrived. A prestigious hospital had heard of her exceptional care and offered her the position she'd secretly dreamed of but never dared pursue. Her willingness to receive had opened channels long closed by resistance. The universe operates through cycles of giving and receiving, like the breath of creation itself. When you block one, you impede both. Your resistance to receiving is not humility. It is a form of energetic discord that disrupts the natural flow of abundance. Sacred practice. Each time someone offers you help, praise, or support, pause for a breath. Let a genuine smile touch your lips. Simply say yes or thank you without justification or deflection. Notice the discomfort that may arise, but hold your ground in receiving. This simple practice begins dissolving ancient barriers to abundance, allowing life's gifts to flow freely toward you once more. Chapter 18, The River Has Eyes. In the misty dawn where the river meets the sky, Otis would stand at the water's edge. Each morning, without fail, he spoke to the flowing waters as one speaks to an old friend. His words carried gratitude, dreams, and the weight of loss, a cherished locket containing his mother's picture, swept away years before. "I trust you," he would say to the river. "I know you hold all things in your depths." The universal truth whispers through this tale. Every word you speak to life echoes in the chambers of time. Your voice creates ripples in the fabric of existence, moving outward until the moment is right for return. The universe keeps perfect accounts. Not one sincere offering is ever lost. Years passed, and one morning, as Otis cast his net, it came back heavy with more than fish. There, tangled in the mesh, lay the locket, tarnished but intact, his mother's smile preserved within. The river had held his trust, returning his treasure when he had learned to live in gratitude rather than loss. You see, the law of attraction operates not on demand but on divine timing. Your words and energy create a sacred covenant with life itself. When you speak with reverence to the world around you, it cannot help but answer, though perhaps not in the way or time you expect. Maybelle understood this truth in her own way. Each morning before her students arrived, she would sit at her piano and whisper thanks, to the keys, to the music, to the silence between notes. She never asked for more, simply acknowledged what was. Gradually, her studio began to transform. New students appeared, seemingly from nowhere. Parents spoke of the special quality in her teaching. Even the piano's tone seemed to deepen, as if responding to her appreciation. Her world bloomed not because she demanded growth, but because she had learned to speak the language of gratitude. Sacred practice. Find your place of communion with the natural world, where the veil between the visible and invisible grows thin. Each morning, for 5 minutes, gaze upon the sky, a tree, or any body of water. Let your attention rest there, as gentle as morning dew. Let your words be simple. Thank you, I know you see me. Feel the truth of being witnessed by life itself, sensing the ancient connection that has always existed between your soul and creation. This is not a ritual of asking, but of acknowledging the sacred dialogue already in motion between you and the universe. In this quiet exchange, you open yourself to the whispered wisdom that flows through all things, remembering that you too are part of this grand tapestry of existence. Chapter 19. The Veil of Need. In the mountains where ancient wisdom still whispers through stone, a prospector named Clark carried his pan and pickaxe with desperate hands. Each morning he would attack the earth, muttering, "The gold must be here, I'll die before I stop searching." His fingers bled from clawing at rocks, his back bent from endless digging. The more frantically he searched, the more the treasure seemed to retreat from his grasp. You see, the universe responds not to desperation, but to alignment. When you clutch too tightly, even the most abundant flow will slip through your fingers. Clark's story teaches a truth as old as the mountains themselves. That which you pursue with anxiety will forever elude your grasp. One day, exhausted and broken, Clark collapsed beside his dig site. "I surrender," he whispered to the sky. In that moment of pure release, the ground beneath him shifted and cracked, revealing a gleaming vein of gold that had been waiting for his surrender all along. This law governs all attraction. What you chase will run, what you release will return. Your relationship with abundance must be one of peaceful allowing, not desperate pursuit. In a quiet town by the sea, there lived a widow named Ada, who dreamed of a specific house on the hill, a Victorian with blue shutters, and a garden where roses bloomed. Instead of yearning with need, she began writing letters each evening, addressing them to "my future home." These weren't demands, but loving messages of appreciation for what was yet to come. "Thank you for waiting for me," she would write. "I know you'll appear at the perfect time." Ada sealed each letter with a smile and released all attachment to when or how her dream would manifest. Months passed, and Ada received an unexpected invitation. The owner of the very house she'd been writing to, a distant relative she'd never met, asked her to become its caretaker and eventual inheritor. The house had been waiting for her all along, requiring only her willingness to let go of when and how. Sacred practice. For 7 days, transform your language of need into one of welcome. Replace "I need more money" with "I welcome abundance." Instead of "I need this opportunity," say "I welcome aligned possibilities." Write down each transformation in a journal, noting how your energy shifts from grasping to receiving. This ancient practice realigns your frequency from one of lack to one of allowance, opening channels that neediness once blocked. Chapter 20. The Unspoken Ritual. In the tallest tower of an ancient city, where time itself seemed to pause between heartbeats, lived Sylvester, keeper of the great clock. Each morning, before the sun touched the horizon, he would climb the winding stairs in darkness. In his pocket, a small pouch of sacred herbs waited, gathered by moonlight as tradition demanded. You must understand that wealth flows not from chance but from rhythm, from the silent ceremonies you maintain when no one watches. Sylvester knew this truth in his bones. Each dawn, he would light his incense with reverent hands, letting the smoke spiral upward like prayers. 3 breaths in, 3 breaths out. No words to break the sacred silence. This was his communion with the infinite, his daily renewal of trust in the universe's abundance. Time moves differently in his tower. While others rushed through their mornings with scattered thoughts, Sylvester's ritual created a field of stillness that began to shape reality itself. First, small changes appeared. Unexpected gifts, solutions arising without effort. Then, larger shifts followed, as though the very fabric of his life was being rewoven by unseen hands. The law reveals itself. When you create sacred space within, the outer world must respond in kind. Your consistent devotion becomes a magnetic force, drawing forth what has always been yours. In a valley not far from there, Pearl, who had helped bring countless souls into the world, discovered this same truth in her own way. Every evening as twilight painted the sky, she would place a single white candle in her window. As she lit the flame, she held her vision in her heart, not with yearning, but with quiet certainty. I honor what is already mine, she would think, watching the flame dance. No pleas, no bargains, just pure recognition of her birthright of abundance. One autumn evening, as her candle flickered against the approaching night, a letter arrived. The inheritance she had long forgotten about had matured, transformed by time and wise investment. The universe had been working silently all along, matching the steadiness of her ritual. Sacred practice. Choose an object that speaks to your soul, a crystal, a coin, a key, or anything that holds meaning for you. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. For 3 minutes each day, hold your chosen object while breathing deeply. Let each inhale draw in universal abundance. Each exhale releases all resistance. This is not meditation. It is magnetic alignment with the frequency of wealth. Maintain this practice without wavering, knowing that each session strengthens your resonance with abundance. Part 3, Becoming the Magnet. Chapter 21, The Alchemy of Belief. In a dimly lit shop filled with bottles of every shape and size, Marvin the apothecary made a discovery that would transform his understanding of universal law. For years, he had meticulously measured herbs and minerals, following ancient recipes passed down through generations. Yet one fateful evening, he noticed something extraordinary. His remedies worked differently, depending on the labels he placed upon them. You see, the universe responds not to what is, but to what you believe to be. This truth lies at the heart of all manifestations. When Marvin labeled a simple rose water as elixir of fortune, customers reported unexpected windfalls. When he marked mint tea as courage brew, timid souls found their voice. The power was never in the contents. It dwelled in the conviction with which he named them. This mirrors the fundamental law of creation. Your beliefs are not merely thoughts. They are active forces that shape reality. What you name with absolute conviction must manifest in form. In the quiet corners of her study, Dorothy Ann discovered this same principle. For years, her manuscripts had gathered dust, rejected by publishers who couldn't see her vision. Then one night, she took out her journal and wrote a new story. Not about her struggles as a writer, but about her inevitable success. She wrote it with such certainty that her hands trembled with knowing. Within days, a letter arrived. An editor had found one of her old submissions and couldn't put it down. The words hadn't changed, but Dorothy Ann had, and reality reshaped itself to match her new conviction. Your beliefs are not passive observers of your life. They are the very architects of your experience. When you declare a truth with unwavering faith, the universe has no choice but to reflect it back to you. This is not magic but law, as constant as gravity, as reliable as the dawn. Ancient practice. Each morning as the first light touches the horizon, stand before your mirror in perfect stillness. Choose one outcome you wish to manifest, one truth you know awaits your recognition. With your hand placed gently upon your heart, allowing yourself to feel its steady rhythm, speak these words with absolute conviction. My belief is the catalyst. So it is. Let your voice carry the weight of certainty, for in that moment you are not making a wish. You are stating a law already in motion. Feel the power of these words resonating through your entire being, knowing that just as the sun must rise, your declaration must manifest. This is not mere repetition of words, but a sacred communion with the infinite power that flows through all creation. Chapter 22, The Gold Signature. In a small studio bathed in morning light, Howard sat at his wooden desk, his quill poised above parchment. For years he had perfected the most elegant scripts, studying every classical form. Yet wealth flowed to him through what he considered his imperfections, the slight tremor in his lines, the unique flourishes that emerged when he wrote without thinking. You hold within you a signature vibration, a frequency that cannot be imitated or improved upon. This truth reveals itself through Howard's story. His wealthy clients passed over his perfect calligraphy, drawn instead to the pieces where his authentic nature shone through. The universe responds not to perfection, but to truth. Your unique essence carries a magnetic power that no polished facade can match. What you might view as flaws are often your most powerful attractors of abundance. The very qualities you've tried to smooth away may be your greatest gifts to the world. Lucille, a tailor in a small town, struggled with this wisdom until necessity forced her hand. Her traditional designs sat untouched, while her secret creations, dresses with mismatched sleeves and unconventional color combinations, remained hidden in her back room. One day, with rent due and nothing to lose, she placed these authentic pieces in her window. A wealthy art collector passed by, stopped, and entered her shop. At last, she said, someone who understands that beauty lies in the unexpected. Within a month, Lucille's odd designs adorned galleries and drew clients from across the country. Her success came not from following trends, but from following her inner truth. This law operates with unwavering consistency. Authenticity attracts abundance. When you align with your genuine nature, you tap into a current of energy that has been waiting for your recognition. Your unique perspective, your particular way of moving through the world, these are not accidents, but essential frequencies in the universal symphony. The wealth you seek already knows your true signature. It is not waiting for you to become something else. It is waiting for you to fully become yourself. Ancient practice. Take a moment of sacred solitude. Let your breath settle into its natural rhythm. With pen in hand, write a single line that captures your essential nature, not who you think you should be, but who you are when no one is watching. Place this truth where your eyes will find it daily. Let it remind you that your authentic self is your most powerful magnet for abundance. Chapter 23, The King's Silence. In the ancient kingdom of the East, young Prince Randolph paced restlessly in his chamber, rehearsing commands and proclamations. An elder sage watched from the shadows, his eyes holding centuries of wisdom. You must understand this timeless truth. True power needs no announcement. The sage approached Randolph and gestured to the window overlooking the courtyard. Below, two figures commanded attention. One, a merchant, shouted his worth to all who passed. The other, a silent warrior, drew crowds through presence alone. "Notice," the sage whispered, "how stillness speaks." The universe operates through this sacred principle. Energy that knows itself requires no validation. When you align with your inner sovereignty, the world responds not to your voice, but to your vibration. Those who understand this law recognize that force diminishes power, while presence amplifies it. In the marketplace of a distant town, Grace, a mother of 4, had spent years believing she needed to prove her worth through words. Each interview became an exercise in explaining, convincing, persuading. But one morning, something shifted within her. She released the need to justify her presence. Walking into the merchant's hall, Grace carried only her quiet knowing. Her energy entered before her physical form, touching every corner of the room with unspoken authority. The wealthy merchant, who had turned away dozens of applicants, looked up from his ledger. Without a single question about her qualifications, he extended an offer that would transform her family's fortune. This truth echoes through the ages. When you embody your power in silence, the universe conspires to confirm what you already know. Your still presence becomes a magnetic force, drawing to you what already belongs in your sphere. The law works with precision. What you radiate in certainty returns in form. There is no need to announce your worth when you have embraced it within. The silent commands of your energy speak louder than any words could express. Ancient practice. Enter each space today as though you already hold everything you seek. Let your energy arrive before your physical presence, radiating the quiet certainty of fulfillment. Move with the quiet confidence of one who knows their true worth, carrying yourself with the grace of completion. Make no announcement, offer no explanation. Your essence speaks volumes in its silence. Simply be, allowing your inner light to illuminate the path before you. Notice how the world responds to your silent sovereignty, how doors open unbidden, and opportunities arise naturally in acknowledgement of your self-possessed power. Watch as others instinctively recognize and honor the unspoken authority you carry within. Chapter 24. The Dream That Commands Reality. In a small village among ancient hills, a watchmaker named Louis tended to timepieces with methodical precision. Each night, as he closed his shop, vivid dreams began painting themselves across his consciousness. In these dreams, he saw himself crafting a remarkable timepiece, one that would capture not just hours, but moments of pure magic. You must understand that dreams carry the seeds of tomorrow's reality. When Louis awoke each morning, he discovered his hands moving in perfect harmony with the visions that had visited him in sleep. The watches he created began to hold an otherworldly beauty, each one manifesting exactly as he had dreamed. The universe responds to the pictures you paint in your mind's eye. Yet it is not mere visualization that creates, it is the feeling state that accompanies your vision. When you combine clear sight with deep emotional resonance, you activate the ancient law of manifestation. In a distant valley, a farmhand named Mildred rose before dawn each day. Instead of immediately beginning her tasks, she would sit quietly in her humble room, eyes closed, heart open. In this sacred space between sleep and waking, she would see herself tending to her own land, feeling the soil beneath her feet, sensing the satisfaction of harvest. She held these visions not with longing or desperation, but with the calm certainty of one who knows. Within months, A series of unexpected events unfolded. A distant relative's gift, a neighboring farm sale, a timely loan, all aligning perfectly with the picture she had held in her heart. This truth has been whispered through the ages. Your inner sight shapes outer reality. The universe mirrors back what you hold in crystal clarity within your consciousness. When you dream with feeling, you engage in an act of creation as old as time itself. Sacred practice. As you prepare for rest each night, create a sacred space of silence. Draw the curtains of your mind close to the day's concerns and open yourself to the infinite possibilities that await in the darkness. See tomorrow unfolding exactly as you wish, not as a distant hope, but as a living reality. Feel every detail, the conversations, the opportunities, the moments of grace. Let your senses dance with the vision. Hear the words of praise and achievement. Feel the warmth of success upon your skin. Breathe in the sweet fragrance of accomplishment. Let this vision sink into your being until it feels as natural as breathing, as inevitable as the dawn that follows dusk. Then sleep, knowing the universe has received your blueprint. The ancient ones knew this practice as dream seeding, for what you plant in night soil blooms in day's light, and the seeds of tomorrow's harvest are watered by the dew of your evening contemplation. Chapter 25. The Field Remembers. In a valley where ancient oaks whispered secrets of time, there lived a widower named Arnold. Each year, on the anniversary of his beloved's passing, he would venture into the meadow at dawn, carrying a sapling and his quiet devotion. Without ceremony or witness, he would dig into the earth, placing not just a tree, but his love made manifest into the soil. You must understand that the universe holds a perfect ledger of every act born from pure intention. As decades passed, Arnold's private ritual grew into a living cathedral of leaves and light. Those who walked beneath its canopy spoke of an inexplicable peace, a healing presence that seemed to emanate from the very air. The forest became known as a sanctuary, drawing thousands who sought solace in its embrace. When you plant seeds of genuine love into the field of life, they multiply beyond measure. Your aligned actions are never lost. They are gathered, nurtured, and returned in ways that transcend your initial offering. In a small-town schoolhouse, a janitor named Maxine moved through empty hallways each evening. As she cleaned, she would pause at each threshold, placing her hand upon the wall and offering a silent blessing. Year after year, she continued this unseen ritual, infusing every corner with her quiet reverence. Gradually, the school's atmosphere began to shift. Teachers noticed their students becoming more focused, more kind. The walls seemed to hold a different energy. Test scores improved, behavioral issues decreased, and a sense of harmony permeated the building. None could explain the transformation, yet all felt its effects. This truth echoes through the ages. What you offer in silence with pure intent creates ripples that touch countless shores. The universe keeps a perfect count of every blessing given, every kindness shared, multiplying their effect beyond your knowledge. Sacred practice. Each day, perform one act of service or kindness without announcement or recognition. Let it be as simple as blessing a doorway others will pass through, or as tangible as leaving an anonymous gift. In quiet moments, tend to the spaces others inhabit, straighten a crooked picture, remove debris from a pathway, or whisper words of blessing into rooms before meetings begin. Create beauty where none expect to find it. In a notebook reserved for this purpose, record your daily offering with these words: I release this act of love into the universe's care, knowing it will bloom in perfect time. After writing, Close your eyes and envision your gesture of kindness rippling outward like stones cast upon still waters, touching shores you cannot see. Let your generosity flow from a place of pure giving, understanding that the universe's ledger is eternal and exact. Trust that each selfless deed plants seeds of abundance in the infinite garden of possibility, flowering in ways beyond your knowing. Chapter 26, The Watcher Within. In the depths of an ancient cemetery where marble angels kept their eternal watch, worked a man named Clifford. Each morning, as mist clung to weathered headstones, he would notice how the atmosphere around him shifted with his thoughts. When his mind dwelled on peace, the morning birds would sing more sweetly. When worry clouded his consciousness, the fog would thicken and longer. You possess this same power of awareness, the ability to witness how your inner world shapes the outer. Before a word leaves your lips, before an action manifests, your thoughts cast ripples through the fabric of reality. This sacred law operates continuously whether you recognize it or not. The observer within you stands as guardian at the gateway of manifestation. This watchful presence, untouched by judgment, holds the key to mastery. As you cultivate this witness consciousness, you begin to see how your thoughts precede creation, how your energy announces you before you speak. In a small town by the sea, Betty Lou faced the empty silence of widowhood. Rather than fighting her grief or forcing false cheer, she began to watch her emotions as one might observe clouds passing across the sky. Each morning she would sit in her garden noting her feelings without attempting to change them. "Today sadness rises," she would write. "Today anger visits." Through this practice of neutral observation, something remarkable occurred. Her emotions, no longer resisted, began to flow more freely. Peace didn't arrive through struggle, it emerged naturally through acceptance. This truth unveils itself. Awareness without judgment creates space for transformation. When you step back and witness your inner landscape with compassionate detachment, you access a power greater than force or will. The observer within you holds wisdom beyond thought. Sacred practice. For one complete day, become the silent scribe of your inner world. Watch your emotions arise and fall without attempting to change them. Note each reaction as it appears. Anxiety surfaces during the morning meeting. Joy sparkles at lunch. Frustration emerges in traffic. Let your observations be clean and clear, free from self-criticism or analysis. Like a mirror that simply reflects without judgment, record each moment with pristine attention. This practice awakens the observer, the part of you that knows how to witness without becoming entangled. Through this watching, you begin to understand the subtle power of awareness itself. As you cultivate this pure seeing, layers of reactivity fall away naturally, revealing the luminous consciousness that has always resided within. In time, you'll discover that this watchful presence carries its own transformative grace, requiring no effort beyond your willingness to remain present and alert. Chapter 27, The Gold of Detachment. In a small fishing village where the morning mist mingled with salt spray, lived a fisherman named Silas. For 30 years, his weathered boat had been his lifeline, his identity. When a fierce storm claimed it, leaving only splintered wood upon the shore, Silas felt his world collapse. Yet in that moment of complete surrender, as he stood empty-handed on the beach, something shifted within him. You too stand at this threshold of sacred surrender. The universe operates on a principle so subtle that most never grasp it, the law of non-attachment. When you hold too tightly to what you desire, you create resistance in the very current meant to bring it to you. Your grip becomes the barrier. The fisherman's tale teaches an eternal truth, that release precedes receiving. As Silas stopped fighting his loss, stopped defining himself by what was gone. The ocean's generosity revealed itself. A wealthy merchant seeking a partner who knew the local waters offered him co-ownership of a fleet of vessels. His loss had cleared the way for abundance beyond his imagination. This principle manifests in all spheres of life, as witnessed in the story of Lorraine, a dedicated nurse who had always controlled every detail of her career. For years, she had yearned for a position in the children's ward, carefully planning each step. But advancement eluded her until the day she finally released her grip on how it should unfold. Within a week, the head nurse of pediatrics retired unexpectedly, and Lorraine was offered the role she had long desired, arriving in a way she never could have orchestrated. Your attachment to outcomes creates resistance. When you learn to want without clinging, to desire without demanding, you align with the natural flow of abundance. This is not passive resignation, but active trust in the universe's wisdom. Ancient practice. Choose one desire that has been occupying your thoughts. Perhaps that promotion you've been seeking or the home you wish to manifest. Write it down clearly on a piece of paper, followed by these sacred words. I trust this or something better. Then, with deliberate intention, consciously release it from your daily thoughts, like a leaf carried away by a gentle stream. Each time your mind returns to grasp at this desire, each time you feel the familiar pull of attachment, gently remind yourself, I trust this or something better. Let these words become your anchor of faith. This practice opens the channel for divine magnetism to work unimpeded by your anxiety or control, allowing the infinite wisdom of the universe to orchestrate circumstances far more magnificent than your limited mind could conceive. Through this surrender, you become a pure vessel for abundance to flow. Chapter 28. The Sacred Mirror. In the heart of a bustling city, a photographer named Esther noticed something peculiar through her viewfinder. Each photograph she captured seemed to reflect not just the scene before her, but the expectations she carried within. When she approached her subjects with doubt, the images emerged dark and uncertain. Yet when she photographed with joy, even the simplest scenes radiated with unexpected light. This revelation unveils a fundamental truth about the nature of reality. Your outer world perpetually mirrors your inner state. Like a camera's lens, your consciousness projects what it believes onto the canvas of life. The law of attraction operates not through force or will, but through this delicate interplay between inner vision and outer manifestation. Your thoughts and feelings create a template that reality must follow. When you shift your inner perspective, the outer world naturally adjusts to match this new frequency. This is not magic, but the operation of an ancient principle. As within, so without. In a small town many miles away, a mechanic named Jed discovered this same truth in his modest repair shop. Though he spoke little, he began consciously viewing his workspace through eyes of abundance. Where others saw old tools, he saw valuable instruments. Where others saw routine repairs, he recognized opportunities for service. Gradually, without announcement or fanfare, his customers began to reflect this shift. They treated his shop with greater respect. They referred wealthy clients. They valued his expertise more highly. Jed had changed nothing in his external operations. He had simply adjusted his inner lens. The universe responds not to what you say you want, but to the energy you emanate. Your inner state broadcasts a constant signal that life must echo. This is why forced affirmations often fail, while genuine shifts in perspective create lasting change. Ancient practice. As the day draws to a close, find a quiet moment with your journal. Let the stillness envelop you as you create a sacred space for reflection. Write freely about what your experiences today revealed about your inner world. Did opportunities appear abundant or scarce? Did interactions feel nurturing or draining? What hidden patterns emerged in your responses to life's unfolding? Notice without judgment how your inner state painted your outer reality. Observe how your thoughts and feelings created the lens through which you viewed each moment, each encounter. Let this awareness guide gentle adjustments to your inner tone, knowing that as you shift within, your outer world must follow. This daily practice of conscious reflection becomes a bridge between your current reality and the expanded possibilities that await your transformed perspective. Chapter 29. The Last Threshold. In a candlelit study, Raymond traced his fingers along the edges of ancient maps, marking territories with delicate precision. For 40 years he had mapped the known world, yet one border remained unmarked, a ghostly line that shimmered at the edge of his consciousness. This border was not drawn in ink, but in the invisible lines of fear that contained his spirit. You too stand before such a border. The law of attraction operates through expansion, through the courage to step beyond what feels safe. Your deepest desires await in territories yet unmapped, beyond the final fear that holds you in familiar patterns. This fear is different from common anxieties or daily doubts. It is the master fear, the one that whispers, "Stay here where it's known." Yet the universe's greatest gifts lie just beyond this threshold. Your abundance expands in direct proportion to your willingness to cross these self-imposed boundaries. In a small town by the sea, Eunice sat before her piano, fingers hovering above keys she hadn't touched in public for 7 years. The concert hall waited, breath held, as she faced her final fear, not of playing wrong notes, but of being truly seen. In that moment of choice, she placed her fingers on the keys and began to play. The music that flowed wasn't perfect, it was real. And in that reality, something shifted. Within weeks, students appeared at her door. Opportunities arose that had lain dormant during her silence. By walking through her fear, she had expanded the territory of her life. Your greatest manifestation waits in similar fashion, just beyond the edge of your current map. This is not about reckless action, but about conscious expansion. The universe responds not to your comfort, but to your courage in facing what you've left unnamed. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Take 3 deep breaths and allow your awareness to settle into your body. What fear lies at the edge of your expansion? Not the surface fears, but the deeper one, the guardian at the gate of your dreams. Name it clearly on paper. Sit with it in silence for several minutes, acknowledging its presence. Then write these words with full intention. I walk through now. This practice honors both the wisdom of your fear and your power to transcend it. Your fear, after all, marks the boundary between the known and the vast potential that lies beyond. Like an ancient guardian at a sacred temple, it tests your readiness to receive what you seek. Your manifestation awaits on the other side of this threshold, gathering strength with each moment of your courage, preparing to meet you in perfect timing when you step through. Trust that this crossing is not just symbolic. It is a profound shift in your energetic alignment with the universe. Chapter 30. The Crown of the Silent Magnet. In the highest room of the ancient clock tower, Elias performed his daily ritual. Each morning, as dawn touched the horizon, he would clean the gears, oil the mechanisms, and wind the great timepiece that had marked the hours for generations. Yet on this day, something stirred in the dusty air, a remembrance of an older practice, one written in the tower's weathered stones. You, like Elias, stand at the threshold of remembering. The secret is not in doing more, but in becoming more. As Elias followed the whispered guidance of the tower, moving his hands in patterns that seemed to emerge from time itself, he discovered that mastery requires no announcement. The tower's rhythms merged with his own heartbeat, and he became not just its keeper, but its embodiment. This is the final truth of magnetic attraction. You are not seeking power, you are power itself. When you fully embody this knowing, the universe bends to your frequency without struggle or strain. You need not declare your mastery to the world. True power moves in silence. In a small-town library, Hazel understood this truth without words. After decades of arranging books and tending to seekers of knowledge, she had cultivated a presence that needed no voice. As she walked through the town square one autumn morning, she noticed how people naturally parted before her, how conversations shifted tone as she passed, how even the leaves seemed to dance in her wake. She had become a living center of peace, and reality arranged itself accordingly. You hold this same magnetic power. It does not require grand gestures or loud declarations. It simply asks you to remember who you are, a silent force of creation, already complete, already whole. The universe responds not to what you do, but to what you have become. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed, a sanctuary where the noise of the world cannot reach you. Sit with your spine straight but relaxed, like a mountain rooted in eternal stillness, hands resting gently in your lap. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, allowing each breath to wash away the clutter of daily thoughts. For 10 minutes, allow these sacred words to rise and fall with your breath like waves upon an infinite shore. I am the silent magnet. It is already done. Let each repetition sink deeper into your being, not as an affirmation to be proven, but as a truth being remembered, a wisdom that has always lived in your soul. This is not a practice of becoming. It is a practice of recognition, of awakening to the power that has resided within you since the beginning of time. Feel how each breath draws you closer to this ancient knowing, this eternal truth of who you truly are. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. You have become the silent magnet, not through effort, but remembrance. Your wealth, your joy, your calling now flow to you through the frequency you have cultivated in silence. But this is not the end. It is a new rhythm of living. You are now walking a path that will never truly close, for the current you've awakened is eternal. The universe speaks through you now, not to you. Your presence alone is enough to shift the energy of any room you enter. You no longer need to announce your worth or defend your dreams. They live in your cells, pulse in your blood, breathe through your being. This is the natural state you were born to embody. Each day, life will call you into deeper alignment, deeper faith, and deeper allowing. As you move through the world, you'll notice how circumstances arrange themselves around your energy. Opportunities appear without chase, abundance flows without strain, and connections deepen without effort. This is not magic. It is natural law expressing itself through your awakened consciousness. Your power is no longer something you reach for. It is something you quietly carry. It emanates from your stillness, radiates through your silence, and touches all who cross your path. You have become what you sought, remembered what you already were. Trust it, live it, bless others with it. Let your mere presence be a reminder of what's possible when one aligns with the eternal current of creation. Your journey now is not to achieve more, but to allow more, to open wider, trust deeper, and rest more fully in your innate magnetic nature. And above all, keep listening to the silence, for in that sacred quiet, everything is already yours. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.